for more on mask shots and some new summer camp rules you may have missed. In fact, let's turn to NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar. Good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
So you just heard Tom say that we're still waiting to hear exactly what these new outdoor mask guidelines will be. But based on what you know about the vaccines, what do you think? I mean, should we take them off, even if you're fully vaccinated?
Yikes, I know. Well, we're gonna hear what they have to say today. I think what we're going to be hearing, so these are going to be interim public health recommendations for fully vaccinated people. So they're not really going to be concentrating, I think, on people who have not yet received their vaccine. And it's going to concentrate on what we can resume and how we can resume it safely. But I think we're also going to hear that because the CDC really can't provide specific risk levels for every activity and in every community, I think they're also going to advise that we still need to be thinking about our own personal risk, right? So, if you're a high-risk person, even though you may be allowed to do something without a mask, you may still choose to keep that mask on. And the other thing that I think is important to point out is that you can't really enforce or really know what someone's vaccination status is outside. So I think they're going to be pretty conservative when it comes to maybe concerts and sporting events. Those are the first things that come to my mind. If you go to an outdoor concert and it's going to feel like, it did pre-pandemic. We'll see what they have to say, Chanel.
Hey, Dr. Nat, I want to ask you about something else because we just heard Tom's report there. You've got more than 100 million Americans now who've gotten at least one shot. Vaccine numbers on the decline, vaccination numbers on the decline here, down 18%. Herd immunity. We've heard so much talk about this concept of herd immunity. Folks who've already had the virus, when you factor that number in with the number of Americans who've gotten at least one shot, it would seem to a number of folks that we are rapidly approaching herd immunity, no?
So if you hear the number that experts are throwing out, if we do include people who've had past infection, we could be getting around 60% of people who are immune. But the caveat there, Craig, is always this. The number of people who truly have been infected is not really that easy to calculate. We've talked about the fact that, positive tests probably really underestimate, which would be a good thing, the number of people who've been infected. But we also don't know exactly how durable or efficient natural immunity is compared to the vaccine. So that's why, and we've had this conversation before, when we talk about herd immunity, we really are hanging our hats on that total vaccine number. But yes, we absolutely are including the people who have recovered from natural infection. We just don't, again, know how robust that immunity is compared to vaccine immunity.
So, Doc, the CDC releasing new guidelines this weekend for summer camps concerning masks, social distancing, vaccinations for campers and staff. They seem fairly similar to school guidance. So what's new in this? Asking for friends who can't wait to get their kids out of the house and into summer camp. Will these programs really be safe?
Yeah, so here's the thing, even last year, a lot of camps actually were able, especially like sleepaway camps. I have, a friend whose kids went to a sleepaway camp, and the way they ran that thing, boy, oh boy, it was very, very successful. And I think that experts have learned a lot from those experiences. But what I think you're going to see in these CDC guidelines, as you mentioned, Al, they do very much resemble the guidelines for schools K through 12. That is really strict adherence to mask wearing, really strict adherence to social distancing, which is another issue, of course, with kids outside and everything like that. But what's new here are vaccination recommendations. Now, of course, it's for individuals 16 and older, but that will include probably a lot of camp counselors as well as adults, the staff. And I think what's also different is that you're going to see testing strategies. So, it's very detailed. I think the take home is that the recommendations are going to be pretty strict, but I think that if they are followed, I think kids and parents can look forward to a reasonably safe and healthy camp experience this summer, Al.
Dr. Natalie, I have to ask about, actually getting the vaccine. I find it wild that 8% of those who got their first Pfizer and Moderna vaccine missed their second shot. I mean, why put yourself through the first one if you're not going to get the second one? So can you I know there is some protection after the first one, but why is it so important to get that second dose?
Right. And this is so important, Dylan, because we've talked about this, reports out, one shot is 80% effective. Why do I need to get that second shot? Some people have side effects to the first dose and are really, really scared, understandably, to get the second dose. And this is why. You basically want to get the most immune bang for your buck out of these vaccines. And in order to do that, you need that second shot. What happens when you get the second shot is that your titer of those neutralizing antibodies, those really powerful antibodies that are so important in fighting off infection, they increase about tenfold. Additionally, you're also inducing this really robust T-cell response, which is that other arm of the immune system that is so important in terms of protecting against variants. So it's not just about increasing the effectiveness from 80 to 90%, because that's very important, but it's also about durability, and it's also about protection against variants still. And that's why we want you to go back for that second dose.
All right, good advice. Dr. Natalie Azar, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
You bet. Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.